Hi everyone, Shane R. Monroe. Today we're going to look at the little tiny itty bitty Cable Matters hub. So somebody on Reddit was asking for the smallest possible hub. Unfortunately, most hubs look like this Anchor hub. They're large, they're kind of unwieldy, but maybe this Cable Matters one will suit the bill. So we're going to open it up. And honestly, it's a little bigger than I was hoping for, to be honest with you. You think 3 inches, well, yeah. You think 3 inches is small, but here you go. I can already tell you I don't like the glossy finish. Just grabs fingerprints like crazy, but it's half the size maybe of a traditional hub, so maybe it'll do the deed. And it does have this sort of slide out bendable cable, which would be perfect if you wanted to, say, attach it to the back here. You probably have to put it over the vents a little bit, which kind of sucks, but yeah, I mean, it'll fit there. It'll fit there. So I guess this would be as suitable of a tiny hub as possible. So let's check it out a little bit closer, shall we? For starters, we have the USB-C 3.2 input, USB 3.2 input USB-A, we have HDMI, and we have a standard USB 2.0, but there's only one of them. There's one USB 2 port, so you get to pick between a mouse or a keyboard. Kind of sucks. But it does seem to have a high-speed USB 3.2 USB-A port, so we're going to be testing that one. So let's plug in some stuff here. We have HDMI. It kind of fits out the back, or the bottom, right? That's kind of unwieldy, but let's plug our power in here. Okay, it's starting to get a lot more unwieldy as we plug things into it. And then I'm going to plug in a mouse, and yeah. Kind of looking a little Dr. Octopus here. So I've got it here plugged into my workstation. You'll see it gave a slow charging warning. We're going to look at that in a minute. But first, let's see how this thing sort of works on the desktop. Boy, it'd be so nice if the common ports were more on like one side, but they're not. So this is one of those things where like you wouldn't be able to put it on a dock comfortably unless you could tuck it in behind the dock. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. It's small, but once you start plugging a bunch of crap into it, I don't know. So I'm going to plug this flash drive in here. This is a USB 3.1 flash drive. We're going to do a disk mark on it to see just how fast it works, because this is what a lot of people are interested in. I want to plug in an external drive and I want to charge at the same time. So there you go. There's the specs for that. But that's a USB flash drive. Now we're going to plug in a 2 terabyte Western Digital USB 3 external hard drive, and we're going to run the same disk marks again. All right, here you go. And this is the internal SSD for comparison. Quite a bit of difference there. Okay, so I'm going to Velcro this to the back of my deck. I want to see what this sort of feels like as a removable device. So I'm going to use some great Velcro here. Due to the length of the USB-C cable coming out of this thing, it's going to have to go over the vent. I'm not a big fan of that. But okay, so let's go ahead and we'll put this thing on. This stuff is so sticky. Look at this. Crazy. Good stuff, though, the Velcro that I buy it off Amazon. It's good. All right. So I'm going to put it above the vents as much as possible while trying not to keep it extruding too much from the top. Okay, that looks fine, I guess. So let's start plugging some stuff in and see how fine it still looks, shall we? So it's some power plugged in here. We'll plug in our external hard drive. Okay, so this is sort of the setup that the guy on Reddit wanted to see. He wanted something that would charge and run his hard drive at the same time. You could unmount it, right, and then tuck it behind, say, this Baseus dock that I've got here. But I don't know. I'm thinking maybe it's not a good to be mounted right there. I don't know. I'm just trying to come up with solutions here, folks. Here is the Red Magic from Nubia. This is basically the next device that you would be able to use to charge and use a hard drive at the same time. But the Red Magic has its own problems, right? So the Red Magic, when you put it on, blocks the power button. So you can't really get to your power button. So you got to plug and unplug it. It's got a long cord. You're not going to probably want to mount that. So while this sucks, the next best thing would be that Nubia Red Magic, and it's not much of a solution either. Unless, of course, you wanted to run that dock out of the area, right? If you're going to run it out of the area, then that long cable would probably work out really well. But that's the only other way you're going to do it. So let me see if I can get this thing. Okay, so I kind of dropped it on there. I tucked it behind. And it looks okay. It looks okay. But again, that one port kind of sucks because I want a mouse and a keyboard. A lot of times you might only need the keyboard. Now it comes up again with this slow charger, so I'm starting to get a little bit concerned that maybe it's not passing through power well enough. So let's get a nice high draw game going on here. You can see it is actually charging, and from 80% to 100 is about 32 minutes based on this particular included charger. Let's take a look with the multimeter, how much is getting out to the deck, and it looks like it's about 31 watts, right? So the game is probably sucking. It's hard to tell from the screen here. 16 to 20 watts. So there is power getting to the battery to charge. Now, if I direct plug the deck into the wall, you're talking about like 38 watts. So there's an 8-watt droppage across that dock. And I'm not sure why that is. The dock claims that it's a 100-watt pass-through, but it's obviously not if it's scraping that 8 watts off the top. Now, most docks or hubs will scrape off the top, but if you got enough juice going in, it should scrape off the top plus provide what the deck is asking for. So let's try it with a 100-watt power adapter instead of the 65-watt. And the 100 watts going through the hub is about 31 watts. So it's the hub. The hub is definitely sitting in between, and it's sucking down 8 of the 38 that the deck is sort of asking for or wanting. So just for fun, let's go ahead and plug that 100 watts in directly. Let's see if we get the same sort of deal here. And yeah, 38. So there you go. And listen, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like, subscribe, hit the bell. You guys know what to do. I'm Shane Armanero. Thanks so much for watching, and take care.